let's start this over. I forgot to hit the
Okay.
record button.
Okay.
All right. Sorry. It's crazy. I have to remember all these different shares and everything. All right, everybody, we're here with Mario Fratto, who primaried in the U.S. Congress in the 24th district. He joins us tonight to talk about the RINOs and the importance of the term limits. And I've known him for over a year now. Lovely guy, a real true conservative. Give us your spiel about RINOs and the importance of term limits. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry,
No worries.
right.
Charles, thanks for that. We're on take two here, folks. So
Take
gotta
two,
bear
take
with
two.
us. We're having a good time tonight. So yeah, I met Charles about a year ago when I was running for Congress. One of the first groups I spoke to was at a concerned citizens meeting where Charles was there. We got to talking after, and then linked up for a couple events. He hosted some we were both at together. And look, he's a great guy. I think we're on the same page with a lot of things. We want to see respect brought back to our society, our culture. We want law enforcement to be respected. We also want our values to be respected. And it just feels like, especially in this state, but it's unfortunately, it's not just New York, but especially in this state, it feels like the government is just totally stepping on our necks when it comes to raising our kids, when it comes to making decisions with our own money, how much they want to take, where they want to spend it. It's out of control. And we clicked on that we were just on the same wavelength. And I got to tell you, at some of the events we were at, the grassroots, the people that are out there really trying to make a difference, because believe me, the politicians really don't make that big of a difference. And I think that's why we talk about RINOs and we talk about term limits, because the people that are there aren't getting the job done. And they go there on under the almost like they're in disguise, like a Trojan horse. They get in saying, I'm this conservative, I'm going to fight for you, I share your values. And then they get there and they're voting for transgender this, they're voting for the schools to be able to, teach your children garbage. And the problem is they get stuck there and you can't get them out because of the money that they get, all these perks. They're basically bought and paid for. And if you had term limits, you'd get new blood in there. I think when Charles asked me to come on, we were talking on the phone for a minute. And I said, in my heart of hearts, I want to believe that not everybody that got into politics was bad from the start, but they stick around long enough and they get corrupt, they become part of the system. And that's the problem. That's the problem. It's that, you might come in there and you're there for 2 years, you're fighting the good fight, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. Next thing you know, it's decades and you're just another one of them. My grandfather used to say to me, if you hang out with garbage long enough, you'll start to stink too. And that's the problem. There's not enough good ones. The only way you fix that is by getting term limits in there, where you can actually get new blood. And if you don't like the person, you can vote them out, but you at least have a better choice, because a lot of people's argument against term limits is, well, I should be able to vote for whoever I want to vote for. The problem is they don't even hear of the other person because they're drowned out. So when I was running, a lot of people after the election didn't even know I ran. And I'm still receiving emails, mail, snail mail saying, hey, I just found out about you now. I wish I would have known, I would have voted for you, and that's the problem. Yeah, that you can't get the message. I didn't even have a TV commercial, so you're totally outnumbered. And, we ran a hell of a campaign. I think dollar for dollar, there were 500 candidates plus in the country that primaried incumbents. And we were the number one campaign in the country, dollar for dollar. Spent a little over $100,000 and we got 40% of the vote. And that's, unheard of doing that. And it just goes to show you that it wasn't that one candidate was better, had better ideas. It was just the other candidate had millions and somebody else didn't. And once you're in as an incumbent, you have that fundraising advantage, and you get stuck with these people that are, their voting record looks similar to Nancy Pelosi, but they're in there as Republicans. So I think we got a lot of work to do.
So, pen, here we go. So the rhinos are the ones that have been in there forever. Just like my opinion here, the rhinos have been in there forever, and they're the ones that are like that sit at the top, especially here in New York. They sit at the top, and they won't fund, even though you're a true conservative. They won't fund you if they have somebody else in mind that's been in forever. That's been in forever. So there's a problem here with that, because got to get rid of the rhinos. Got to get rid of them. Got to get rid of the people that are at top that control everything, control the funding. Who's getting money for this? Who's getting money for that? And everything else.
I mean, a perfect example is to look at the very top of the Republican Party now. Let's go to the Senate, right? The minority leader there, Mitch McConnell, right? He has shown his true colors over and over again. And yet he stays in that leadership role because the way it works in the Senate and in the House, the U.S. Congress as a whole, they get to choose their own leadership. So they don't do what we want them to do. A perfect example was when it was the speaker vote, the vote for speaker. Before the House could even get sworn in, they had to choose a speaker. Well, if you look at polling and if you got any sort of a pulse and half a brain, you would know that the majority of Republicans, the voters, the actual people, didn't want Kevin McCarthy to be the speaker. It was an overwhelming sentiment out there that you just knew we wanted anybody but McCarthy, Jim Jordan, whoever. And not even to say now that McCarthy isn't doing a good job. I've never met him. I don't know what he's really like one-on-one. But what I do know is the people that were fed up and they wanted change. It was a big thing that we had the House back. They wanted change. Yet, 90% of the Republicans, 90%, including Claudia Tenney, who primaried me in the election, voted for McCarthy 15 times in a row. 15 times in a row, they went up there, never once had a backbone, never once made a different choice because they were doing what was good for them. They knew that they were going to be promised certain seats on certain committees. They knew that Kevin McCarthy's PAC is going to donate to them again, like he did for her against me. And they said, wait a minute, I can get more money and I can get more power if I betray the people who sent me there. So before I even get sworn in on my very first vote, I'll betray them, because what are they going to do? They don't know enough. They're going to forget. They're going to have short memories. And when I come back in 2 years to run again, they're going to say, there she is again, because you're all over the TV telling me you're conservative. And then we get the same thing and the same thing. It's crazy.
She's all over Fox News right now.
Oh.
And I'll tell you what, Fox News is just as bad as CNN. I don't care. I've been saying it for years. They're the controlled opposition. And she's all, I go to my mother's. My mother, she still watches Fox, but she's starting to get hesitant about it. And every time I go over there on Sundays, there's Claudia Tenney. I'm not for nothing. There she is. I'm going, yeah, there you go.
I mean, yeah, it's bad. And I mean, I think that's it in a nutshell. Like I said, you look at that vote and you say, it's for money, it's for power. So that's the epitome of self-serving, of being there for the wrong reasons. And they don't want to leave. And that ties right in to the term limits. Like I said, now you see they're running ads up here in Rochester against Claudia Tenney because she signed a pledge. I promise, that I'm going to support 3 terms of 2 years in the House. So 6 years and you're done. And the wording is, and no longer limit. Well, the second she got sworn in, there's almost 100 co-sponsors on that exact bill. She didn't co-sponsor it. She introduces her own bill for 12 years and 6 terms, directly breaking her pledge. And then they put up a billboard of her saying she broke her pledge in Oswego County. And then she co-sponsors the other bill. So she's got her own bill out there with 0 co-sponsors, just her, for 12 years. And not only is it 12 years, it says you can leave for 2 or 4 years and come back another 12. And it's like, how is that a term limit? You can serve 24 out of 30 years or whatever it is. And it's just insane, but it's because it's for themselves. And we're just sitting here you know, we thank God we can laugh. I see Charles is cracking
Yeah.
up.
Well, because
I
know.
got you too. It's, I know. It's just
I got
really.
I got to call this out. I got to say this. All right. When we did the Freedom Over Fear ride and rally, you remember that last year?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And Roberta has nothing to do with what I'm going to say about this. Let everybody know.
Sure.
But Claudia Tenney told her that she was going to get people together and they were going to try to work something out. They were going to do a Zoom to try to get for New York LEAP, New York Law Enforcement Assistance Program that helps law enforcement that are having PTSD and all that stuff. And she told Roberta that she would do this. But guess what? Zilcho, nothing. I knew it was going to happen. Nothing. Because they're all talk when it comes to getting elected, because they are, like you said, self-serving. Mm-hmm. It's all about me. I just want power.
Right.
And the more power I can get, the better. Because that's all they just keep wanting. They want to keep stepping up the company ladder. Is all it is.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the people. They don't care about the people. Not for nothing. I don't care for Claudia Tenney, and I don't care if people know it. That's what I think. But yeah, I mean, you know
Charles,
that too.
Wait, I don't have a pen, but I got to stop you right there because I think she's a great person. She has got a heart of gold. No, I'm just, but all kidding aside, it's really not personal. It's just, look, our race was a perfect example. I was running in New York 24. I'm in the heart of the district, dead center, 250 miles end to end. I'm right there in the middle. She moves 110 miles from Utica to Canandaigua to say she's going to run for this seat. In my mind, I'm thinking, could you imagine if tomorrow I said, hey, I'm moving out to Utica, guys, the mayor's seat. The mayor's seat is vacant. I'm going to run for mayor of Utica. And they say, your family's been here 6 generations. What do you got to do with Utica? I'm like, well, there's an open mayor's seat. What am I going to do? And what am I, stupid? There's good benefits. You know what I mean? People are going to give me a lot of perks. Like, I got to get to Utica, and I'm going to tell the people there it's because I care about them. That's why I'm here. And it worked. That was the thing that blew my mind. I was thinking, she cut an ad saying Binghamton, Mohawk Valley, all these areas, that's home, and home's worth fighting for. And then the next year, she's abandoned 100 miles and running here and telling us, now I'm going to fight for you. And I was like, this can't work. Maybe I was delusional, but I thought we were going to win on that alone. I said, you can't just, that's a Hillary Clinton move when she came from, Illinois and Arkansas and then moved to New York and said, I'm your new senator. And I was like, wait a minute, they're not going to really vote for her, are they?
I hate to laugh, but it's a big freaking joke. The whole thing's a big joke. And it's not a funny joke. It's just ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
But it was Chris Jacobs. It was Chris Jacobs.
Right.
And you run at first.
Right.
Then he got in trouble with the whole Second Amendment thing going on. They took him out. They said, we're going to pull Claudia in this area.
And what about with him? I told everybody the guy is a RINO, right? I was telling all these Republican committees, all these politicians come out and endorse him. These big conservatives say, Chris Jacobs is conservative. He comes out and says he wants to ban assault weapons. He wants to raise the age for a gun to 21. All of them rescinded the endorsements, retracted them, said, we no longer endorse him. He's a RINO. And I said, and the best part is Chris Jacobs was ranked 187th in the House out of like 215 members, or whatever it was. Claudia was 186. So I said, if you consider her an improvement for go from 187 to 186, God bless you.
So Murray, what? Oh, there you go, John.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
so I know we heard there's going to be maybe some more redistricting soon. What is that going to do for you?
Well, so I think they're redistricting. Is it the assembly seats now?
I think so. Yeah.
That they said that the Senate ones were good, but the assembly ones still weren't. But they didn't have time to fix the maps, so they went with them for now.
Okay.
With Congress, but I think they are trying to overturn all of them because the whole process was really bizarre. But at least for the congressional maps, they went through the court system. And they had threw out the first ones, and then they made these. So at least there was some sort of process that gave a semblance of fairness to it. Mm-hmm. But as far as I go, I'm not running for assembly or Senate in God bless the people, because we have some really awesome representatives. Pam Helming, Jeff Gallahan, Brian Mangtalo out in Wayne County, and Webster. They're good people. And I cannot imagine what it has to feel like for them to go to Albany knowing they're in that minority and speak on principle and try to push back and just give some some sense of urgency to make a change, because this state is going off a cliff, and they're there every day, saying these things, knowing that it's like banging your head against a wall, because they're not listening to you, and they keep doubling down on stupid. Every time they come up with a bad idea, they're like, what we can do? Let's make some carbon taxes. Let's go green. Let's push this solar. Let's do this. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll ban gas stoves next. Oh, I know what we'll do. It's like, it's
let's ban dishwashers.
Yeah, right. It's getting to a point, and everything is counterintuitive, because all the stuff they're doing is going to be powered by fossil fuel back at the power plants, or back wherever the real energy is coming from. And they're just going up the same way, So I really feel for those people, but I'm not running for anything right now. It would be hard for me to run for a state level office, just because I feel like it's so I don't want to say it's because it's so difficult, but I feel like I really want to be able to get something done. And I also have I think a better grasp of national politics than of state level politics, because I always try to look at the big picture, because it isn't just New York State, unfortunately. Like I said, it's all over. So I'm not ruling anything out when it comes to running again.
Okay.
I got people writing to me all the time asking me to run. What do I need? And that means a lot. It really does. So if anybody's watching that's one of those people that's been so supportive, it really means a lot, because anytime you take a loss and you feel like you tried your best and it didn't work out, you always have some self-doubts. You always wonder, some sort of regrets. Is there anything else I could have done? You never really feel like it just, went the way it was supposed to. So there's always that part, and it's hard, but it feels good when people like Charles and a lot of other people are out there being supportive.
Something. Now we had John Salka on here a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he was losing the races at first, but he just kept pushing on, and then he started winning. Remember that, John?
Yeah.
He was talking about that. He's going, just because you lose the first time, don't give up. Just keep pushing, because then he started winning. He was an assemblyman. He was a mayor, right? Wasn't he a mayor?
Yeah, assemblyman. Well, I know if Mario had like 40% of the vote, maybe if his name was out there more, now that people know him, now if he ran again, more people would know him, and I think it would probably work out pretty good the next time around.
But he's not going to say. He's not going to say it.
No, yeah, I can't. And honestly, I have to really thank God that I lost. Because the timing, I was so I was so motivated to run, because I found out my wife was pregnant, and I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to set an example for my son that I knew was on the way, and show him like what it means to stick your neck out there. Because believe me, if you go in some of the comments, you go on Twitter, people are saying the most horrible things in the world to me on a daily basis. It's real. No, it's disturbing. And especially the people on the left, but there are some people on the right that supported my opponent that were saying, vicious things to me. So all sorts of names, also talking about my family, all sorts of stuff. So it's not easy, but I felt like I was doing something honorable by sticking my neck out there. And when I lost, there was almost a sense of, I don't want to say relief, but like, what, then this must not have been the right time. And sure enough, January, I would have been down in DC going through that mess with the Kevin McCarthy stuff. And I'm sitting there with my son and my wife, every morning I'm having breakfast with him, and I'm working with my brother, and I'm going and hanging out with my son when I get home from work, and laughing and playing. And, he started walking, he's talking a little bit, and I'm thinking, man, I just would have been in DC during all of this. And I've had these moments. So And you see what those people do, even the people like the senators and assemblymen who go to Albany all the time, 3 days a week, going there, and there might be a baseball game, there might be a recital for their kids, and they can't make it, because they're there, and they are sacrificing.
Except for the ones that don't have to show up here in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They can just clock in and then leave. Yeah.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It really is how they're making it to the point that it's laughable. Even what they get paid, the budgets, everything else, they keep voting for increases. But it really is up to the voters to hold them accountable. Like with term limits, I think it would be shocked. 80% of the country supports it, left and right. They want that. If you could get to the vote on the House floor, and then you're able to see who voted for it and who didn't, those people need to be voted out if they won't support it, because they've shown that it's such a, and God bless Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and everybody, Byron Donalds, who were part of those 20 or 21 holdouts initially, because part of the reason they were holding out on the vote for McCarthy was to guarantee that they would get a floor vote on term limits, and it was for this set of term limits that Claudia didn't want to support, but for 3 terms in the House. And I think that what they're worried about is themselves, because they're thinking about, technically the term limits won't apply to themselves. So if they say, look, it's going to be 3 terms in the House, even if they're in their 4th or 5th term, they don't have to leave. It only applies to anybody elected after that point. So you could still have some people there for 20 or 30 more years that are there now. But it would show how hypocritical they are if they vote for it and then say, well, I'm going to stay for 2025, but these new guys got to be out in 6, So that's what I like. Even Claudia, she'd be running for her 4th term, even though now she says she's supporting 3. But, so do you really believe them?
It's time for the crypt keepers to go. Is really what it's about. The crypt keepers have to go.
They're 80-something years old, and they have a lot to offer as far as if you want to go out.
They're making too much money.
They're
making too much money.
Yeah. They all leave with millions and millions.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the salary, let's not kid ourselves. I believe my opponent somewhere, somebody told me they had saw her and she said, I could be making $400,000 a year if I was practicing law, but I'm taking a pay cut to be here. And I'm only making $174,000 a year, and I was thinking, that's like 4 times what the average American makes.
Yeah, I know. I make like 70,000 a year.
Right. And it's like, exactly. And it's like, and busting your hump out there doing manual labor and building and working and they're off 6 weeks. We're out of session. We're on vacation. They're working, they start at noon. They're working 3 days a week. And it's like, we're out here, killing ourselves. And then they complain that they could make more.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think if we got rid of from Albany South? Get rid of Albany South and just keep upstate, downstate. What do you think about that? That would be great, right?
I mean, in some ways, yes. In some ways, no. The only thing I don't like about it is it's the same mentality of the people that are fleeing the state now. That, they're going to Florida, they're going here and there. But that ultimately ensures that New York will stay broken forever. It's like a lot of the people who get educated in third world countries, they come to the United States and they call that brain drain, right? Well, if all the people who think Kathy Hochul and the Democrats are stupid leave New York, that's going to be a major brain drain, because all the people with common sense say, I'm going to Texas, I'm going to Florida. Well, what are you going to have left in this state? And I think we worked too hard. Our families worked too hard. On my mom's side, I said, we've been here my son's the 6th generation in the same town. On my dad's side, my great grandfather came over, fought in World War I to get his citizenship, went back to Italy and raised his family. My grandpa came here as an American after World War II. He didn't, his father was American, but they built the roads. They worked on the railroads, the bridges. Every street I go down in this part of New York State, somebody in my family had been working there at some point or another.
That's cool.
And to think, cool. And you think my dad was a boxer here, and he was the pride of Geneva.
Rocky.
That's cool.
You know, so
Rocky
it's just
Fratto.
like we built all this legacy, all this time that our family before us put in. You know, I think my fourth great grandparents are buried in the cemetery here. That, you know, so it's like I don't want to just say I'm going to Florida now and start over. It's this really is my home. You know, so I don't.
And you're
I don't
not leaving. You're here to fight.
No.
You're here to fight. You're here to
Absolutely.
fight. A lot of people are. And it
I'm
really
not-
sucks that
hey,
people are leaving. It sucks that people
I'm
are
not
leaving
going to
because
Utica. I'll tell you that.
All right,
Hey,
Mario.
listen, I live 20 minutes from Utica, 25 minutes from Utica in the Adirondacks. So, Ava, New York. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to go to Utica either. No.
No.
All right,
No,
our
I'm
half
staying
hour
right
is
here.
just about up. But Mario, let us know where people can reach you, how they can keep in touch with you or find you on social media.
So
or whatever.
I'm on Twitter at Mario Fratto. I'm on Facebook. I think we still have the Mario Fratto for Congress page, so you can connect there. And I was on YouTube for a while. You can still check out my old videos. It's Making the Case with Mario Fratto. So if you want to hear my views on other topics, they're still out there.
I'm definitely going to look it up for sure. Making the Case, right?
Yes. They got me like shadow banned, so you literally have to find that channel. You can't find any of my videos in the search. So.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm always restricted constantly. Constantly. Yeah.
All right, so we've been about a half hour. Hey, John, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you in a few minutes. All right.
All right. Give me.
It was a pleasure, guys.
All right, Mario.
Nice meeting you here, John.
And hopefully, hopefully you're gonna be coming out again.
We'll see.
You know you're gonna have the support. Someday in the near future, maybe throw a little tease out there a little bit.
You'll be one of the first to know if anything happens.
All right, Mario. Good talking to you.
Thank you, guys. It was
a
good time.
We'll
Thank you. You too, boys. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.